All right.
Hey, Shalom.
Shalom.
We're GMS New Orleans, here to bring you a live camp. Here to, prior to get started, I want to give infinite honors and prayers to
Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahushua Ba'Shem, Rakadash.
double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who taught us his truth. Peace and salutation to the hopefully elect, you Akim, you Aqua, which is you brothers and sisters in the Hebrew that believe. All right. And furthermore, again, bringing out another live camp, and which is going to hop in the topic of the job's not finished. All right. So obviously we see prophecy banging left and right. You know, a lot of things that we've been looking for a long time. You know, right in front of us. All right. But you know, the Lord still hasn't called us up yet. All right. The Lord still hasn't dropped those missiles. So that means that work still has to be done. All right. We can't be lackadaisical on our watchtowers. All right, just because we see the things that we've always been waiting for. All right, that means that we need to lock in even more and grind harder, you know, to make our calling and election short. Okay, but Bob Kashak kicking me off with Isaiah.
It's Isaiah 62:6. It says, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace, day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord Yahweh keep not silence, and give him no rest till he establish, until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth.
Come, you know, that's our duty. You know, we still hold the duties of the prophets. You know, of disciples of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. All right, to continue to work day in and day out. You know, to usher in the coming of our Lord and Savior. All right. Hit that in the NLT for me, Papa Kashak.
Con, Isaiah 62:6 in the NLT. It says, O Jerusalem, I have posted watchmen on your walls. They will pray day and night continually. Take no rest, all you who pray to the Lord Yahweh. Give the Lord no rest until he completes his work, until he makes Jerusalem the pride of the earth.
So, you know, it's going to be a strenuous, you know, test that's going to be a task, so like that's going to be going on with us. But, you know, if the Lord called us in here to do this work, who are we to deny it? All right? The Lord gave us this opportunity to work for our crowns, to work for this glory, you know, that's only for a few people, you know. And at this point in time, you want to fall out, you know, again, kind of land backing off of the spirit that's kind of been through the chat, you know, quitting. You know, you can't quit the truth. You can't back up out of this thing. And who are you to back out at the final moments? All right. But no, again, the job's not finished. All right. You know, it's from if brothers know where I get that from, it was like a little interview with Kobe, you know, in the championship, you know, and he had, or I think it was maybe like game 6 or something like that. And the job wasn't finished yet. So it wasn't no time to celebrate. It wasn't no time to do anything else. All right. It was time to focus and make sure that game 7 at the end that he gave everything that he got, you know. But so much for us as well, that this being the last moments that we give everything that we got. All right. Come on, you got it.
This the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, because it backs up the point. You know, they had a couple wins, right? But there still was more to go, you know. And it's like we liken that, you know, metaphorically speaking, into the truth. You know, we see a prophecy unfolding, right? Say for instance, a couple weeks back, with the Iran and Israel thing popping off. You know, that's a win. You know, that's a couple wins, because while we inching closer and closer with major players coming into World War III. You know, but like you said, the job ain't finished yet, right? Now it says Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, and at the end it shall speak and not lie. And though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Right? And so these things happen, all right? It gets you excited, all right? The Lord give you another faith booster, all right? But then it starts to tarry again, right? Because we still got to endure, we still got to suffer, all right? But there's going to come a point to where it's not going to tarry no more, right? In the job, we actually going to finish the job. You got it?
Yep. You know, and that backs up the point of suffering patiently.
Yep.
All right? Because that's what you know, again, the Lord requires us to suffer patiently through this. And we've been suffering patiently for so long. All right? You say something? Con. Yeah, you get it. Sorry, my turn.
This the book of St. Matthew, chapter 13 and verse 16, and it reads, "But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard of them. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower." I am basically, you quoted it, but I just want to make sure brothers had that and put that in their notes, man, because prior to now, all the prophets, like you beautifully explained, have been waiting for these very things, right? For these wars and rumors of wars. Talking to MOTB. Okay, we are living in the times in which prophetic men in the ancient world had got visions about. Right, they were actually visualizing these very times that we're in, seeing Donald Trump, how he's dealing in the earth. Okay, seeing Vladimir Putin respond. They were seeing these things. You see, seeing the state of Israel. Okay, so when you being diligent, you understand that we almost out of here. Okay, there's not too, like this brother said, they ain't got too many more prophecies left to go. But you got it.
Yeah, still a domino effect, the way I like to explain it. Brothers may explain it in different ways, but a domino, the way the domino effect happened, a domino that's 10 dominoes away doesn't get hit until the rest of it falls before it. All right, so that's how the prophecy moves. All right, things have to be knocked down one at a time. All right, and that's how you walk down the kingdom. Ultimately. All right, but again, back up the point that the precept that the brother brought out. It's a blessing for us to even have this opportunity, man. All right, so again, why would you not do it to the max? All right, do everything that you could to the max while the Lord is watching. While the grace period is still open. All right, this is the time to just give everything that you got. But you want to say something real quick?
Yeah, if I could say it real quick, because like that, with that reference you made to, with this guy Kobe Bryant. Right, they had to fight for this every year, right? It was a yearly thing. You win a championship, all right, let's go do it again.
Yeah.
We don't got to fight for this again, man.
Yeah.
All right, which is why you should be giving it more of your all now, more than ever, man.
Yeah.
If they can do that, like I take in 1 Corinthians 9 and 25, that they strive for incorruptible.
You got it.
You hold it? Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's 1 Corinthians 9, I start at 24. It says, "Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible."
We are incorruptible. All right, nothing can touch this. All right, nothing can touch this crown that the Lord is going to give us. The only person that can take your crown away is the Lord, and that's by the works that you are doing. If that's dealing with wickedness at the end of the day. All right, if you want to fumble your crown, that's the only thing that can happen. But again, we're not trying to fumble our crown. We're trying to continue this race, and we're trying to finish at the end. To receive all of the rewards that we've been looking for. All right, the things that's been promised from Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Okay, but you have more on that?
Yeah, I can read more.
Come on.
Yeah, it says, verse 26, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. I can read it in the NLT though too.
It got some smoke in that. But like I said at the beginning, it talks about we don't run this. Apostle Paul, basically explaining the mentality of all of us that we're not running this race uncertain. We know the goal. We know what we're running for. All right, and we're not. I'm not going to be up here speaking, telling y'all all of this, being a hypocrite of myself, and I'm not trying to fight and finish the races myself. All right, because that's the last thing that you want to be. You don't want to be a hypocrite. Telling everybody what they need to be doing, and you ain't doing it yourself. Like that's wicked. All right, but. Yeah, NLT, Bob, for sure.
Yeah, that's 1 Corinthians 9 and 26 in the NLT. It says, "So I run with purpose in every step. I am not just shadow boxing. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching to others, I myself might be disqualified. So that just going into what you were saying about being a hypocrite.
Yeah, not to show yeah, you said with the shadow boxing, all right. This is the real deal battle, you know, where we are in times right now, all right. This is not practice no more, all right, and it's about to get even more harder, you know. So just prepare yourself for it at the end of the day, you know. But you got it, bro.
Because Philippians 1, I'm gonna start verse 5. For your fellowship in the gospel from the first day unto now, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Yahweh Shai. And kind of based off, I want to bring this up because as you was going there earlier, like, hey, the job ain't finished yet, you know. So basically, man, when we cross over, you know, that's where the job starts. Cause they brothers always says all the time, like, just cause, hey, man, you made it to the camp doesn't mean you made it yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just a start. But yeah, it said, man, that the final, that finishing line is where your house shall come back and you receive that crown. That's when you know you're finished, man. That's when the job finished. Until then, the job ain't finished.
If I can say, just because you got you get the title of GMS on your name, that don't mean you made it, man.
Right.
You know, just I'm a part of great. That don't mean you up to elect, man. They say you gotta endure to the end.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of things that you gotta check off the list, man. Not just having GMS. They got brothers that's real diligent. That's not a part of GMS, man. You know, that ain't the end all be all. You know, and Jake just think it's that simple. But go ahead.
Yeah, also, I want to say too, it said being confident as well.
Yeah.
So, babe, now we're in the times where, hey, man, we got to have that winning mentality. You know, that we able to win this thing, man, because hey, we're about to win if we keep going. You know, we don't got that small, short period of time until we receive the reward, man, that we're desiring, man. You know, that winning reward, man. You know, that crown, dominion, rulership.
Yeah,
You know?
the Eminem song, you know, lose yourself. You only get one shot. Do not let your chance to blow. An opportunity come once in a lifetime. All right, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity that we have. You know, you can't harp on that point, you know, much more, because that shows how rare and how much of it is a blessing, you know, having that opportunity. All right, you got it.
If I can see, you only get one chance to I beat 144,000.
Like Rashad had said, it's not like the NBA or the finals, but we just compete for that, you know, every annually. This you get one shot, one fight, and that's it. That's
That's
gonna
what
be
it's all
everything.
about.
That one shot.
It's one shot. Everything
That
lies
one
on
race.
it.
This ain't no video games where you could be bought back, you know, after you done been cast out. Resurgence. Yeah, this ain't
Respawn.
Yeah, this ain't Babylon resurgence. You know what I'm saying? This is, you know, plain and simple. You know, do it right the first time. Is what brothers and what the pretty much the book preaches. Do it right the first time. All right.
I'm gonna bring it. I just want a little quick precept. It said back up what y'all was saying. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13 said, "But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved." So if you endure what you're doing right now, keep prophesying, keep, you know, bringing out the work of the Lord, you know, being patient, going through these adversity, you know, you got to go all the way to the end. You know, that so we can get that crown, you know, with the fact salvation, immortality, rulership, spiritual power. That's what we longing for each and every day. We ready to get out of this nightmare. That's why we got to constantly endure, because we already knowing here is temporary. The kingdom that's coming is what? It's eternal. That's what we longing for. So we got to endure all the way to the finish line. And 144, they gonna make it. Whoever they may be across the world. You got it, man.
And thus saith the Lord. All right. So that allows more hope to, you know, of hope and faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to come in you, to know that it's a set amount of people that's going to be saved. It's a set amount of people that's going to be doing His work. So again, everything that we're doing is that we're trying to, you know, rehearse and be in the actions of what they will be doing, you know, at this time, you know. But brothers made a point too, you know, I wanted to harp on it, you know, just because, you know, you got the title GMS on your name, you know, doesn't mean that you made it, all right? It doesn't matter if you're on that side of the camera or if you're on this side of the camera. It's the point that we all out here working for that crown, working for that penny, you know, that the Lord gave us, that the Lord is going to give us, you know, for overcoming. all right? But that's nothing to be, you know, put down in the spirit of like, oh, I don't got nothing on my name. Nah, it's a blessing that you're working, all right? That you're out here doing this work, because many people not doing this, man. And Bobby Bishop, you can get that precept for me?
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 14. The red letters, Yahweh speaking, it says, "For many are called, but few are chosen."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, plain and simple. Many are called and few are chosen. All right, so not much to break down on it, but you could see that it's many people that has come through this walk and has fallen short. All right, you know, either going back into the world or, you know, pretty much going back into the world is not pretty much anything else. You know, just condemning yourself, damning yourself into death, you know, ultimately. All right, but a lot of people really knows what the hell is going on. Like the brother Quara did a video maybe a week ago or so. The cat's out of the bag. All right, the Hebrew Israelites are well known across the entire earth. Everybody knows that the people in that land, them small hats, are not the people. All right, you know, just quick testimony. I got some people, some Arabs that was talking to me, and they was trying to explain to me that the African American community doesn't know that that's their land over there, and so on and so forth. Like basically, what they were trying to do was kind of recruit me of hating them as well with this, you know, Iran and, you know, Israel beef going on, you know. But they trying to explain it and make me understand more that, you know, all of this is that they are the bad people. And I just know overall, like, fuck all of y'all. You know, we know that our Lord is coming to come back for us, you know? But,
I got something.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
This is the book of 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 10. "Wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. For if ye do these things, ye shall never fall."
Mm-hmm. Speak on.
God, and like basically, like the fight's not over until it's over. Until them chariots and the missiles come, we gotta keep on fighting no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And so brothers can't be content with where you're at. You guys gotta keep on striving.
And like you said, a important part in there is that if you read it again, it talks about not fall.
For if this 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 10. You just want me to read? I'm just reading.
Yeah, read the whole thing.
2 Peter chapter 1, verse 10. "Wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure.
Mm-hmm.
For if ye do these things, ye shall never fall."
You should never fall. All right. Again, it's a point of understanding that we all know is that, again, you can't work for the Lord and fail. All right. You can't do the righteous works of Yahweh Bashim Shai as a so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American and fail. All right. The Lord is faithful, and he's gonna, you know, he's gonna save, you know, those people that is calling on his name. You know.
I got some better point of this.
Come on, go ahead. You got it.
Yeah, Sirach 4 and 28. It says, "Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee."
Come on.
Yep.
Strive unto death. All right. Like the brothers was bringing in yesterday. You know, this is a blood in, blood out contract that we have with Yahweh Shem Shah doing this work. You know. So again, we know that it's nothing to die for doing the works of the Lord, because we know what comes afterwards. All right, coming into this truth, we understand that death is not this crazy thing that we all thought it was at the beginning. You know, it's ultimately peace at the end. All right, and for men that's doing the work, you know, if a brother passed away in the truth, that ain't nothing but a first class ticket to the chariots. You know, to wait for the destruction to be over with. But you want to say something real quick?
Yeah, this that word strive. You know, online etymology says to quarrel, to contend, to make an endeavor, to try, to dispute, to struggle, to put up a fight, to compete. Let me see if there's more. Nah, that's pretty much the point.
Like one of the words that stuck out to me that I like. Oh, go ahead.
I gotta get this. Hey, this says when you go down, because endeavor was a synonym for strive. All right, this is endeavor. It says pains taken to attain an object, literally in duty.
In duty. What is the duty that we are doing right now? You know, rehearsing the righteous acts, you know, out here putting the word on the highways and byways, all right? You know, doing everything that the Lord requires us. That's the duty that we hold.
Right.
And it's not, you know, again, it's not grievous, you know, but at the same time, you know, in this flesh that we're in right now, you know, sometimes brothers might not be on their P's and Q's how they need to be. All right, and that's understandable, and that's again why we need Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai at the end of the day. All right, you know, if we could do all this by ourselves, we wouldn't need the Lord. All right, so the Lord makes it to this point that we're going to be out here struggling, we're going to be out here fighting, you know, and basically, you know, if you see that quality in somebody that you call your brother and somebody that you want to be heir in the throne with, that's fighting with you, and you can see that I know that he's not going to get this, but he's going to die trying to get it. That's somebody I want on my team. All right, so that's something that the Lord is, you know, pretty much, you know, looking at us and requiring us to continue to do this work, you know, unto death, you know, if need be. But,
Because he laid down the example.
yep.
It tell you that in John 14, that a man that willing to lay down his life for his friends. Well, Yahweh Shai did that, man. He showed us what the example to be to do that, and he did that so that in these last days, that you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, all right, that's of the elect, will have a chance at your salvation, man. Which is why the brother read what 2 Peter 1 and 10, with being diligent, because those men, all right, they're going to be diligent, all right, they're going to search the scriptures daily, all right, as Apostle Paul spoke about with the church of Berea, all right, because those men are back today that was dwelling with Yahweh Shai, man. You know, with
So, got something?
I got
Yeah,
something.
I'll bring it out kind of fast. I'll bring it
Okay,
out. This is Ephesians 4 and verse 1. It says, I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called. And when you go into that word vocation, it basically just goes into the calling, man. Like all of us brothers have a calling, right? And even later on in that chapter, it gives you evangelists, apostles, teachers, brethren, helps within the, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And also, I'm gonna read it in the G&T real quick. It says, I urge you, then, I who am a prisoner because I serve the Lord, live a life that measures up to the standard God set when he called you. So that's what we got to be doing. We got to be living up to we've been called, like we said earlier, we've been called to this thing. Now we had to live the life in which the Lord has set for us. You know what I'm saying? So whatever weight he's going to give you, you know what I'm saying? I believe in a Sirach, it talks about wisdom being like a tried stone. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to put some weight on you. It's going to be a little heavy, but you're going to be able to endure it, you know, in your walk.
And if I could say, you know, again, brother spoke about it yesterday, and it's also in the Corinthians that, you know, the Lord is not going to give you a task that you can't overcome at the end of the day. All right, but, you know, come. And speaking of it, what brothers was talking about yesterday, you know, counting the cost, that's what it was. Talking about counting the cost of when you cross over and so on and so forth, and, you know, do you understand what's going to come at the end of this? All right, not the end of this, but through the trials of working for your crown. All right, it's going to be some crazy things that's going to start happening in your life, and you got to be willing to accept that. All right, and keep your eyes single to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai at the end of the day. You know, but it's not an easy task at all. You know, just laying back and off with the brother. All right, pretty much. You know, is I can't really say too much of what I'm kind of thinking right now, but it's just crazy things are going to happen. You know, every brother got their own walks and past lives, and, you know, family members, you know, children, and so on and so forth. Whatever is in front of you, you know, the Lord is going to test you in those ways with your surroundings. All right?
Your trial accustomed to your walk.
Yes.
Telling me for you.
Come. Beautiful.
I got that for you. Good.
Come.
Listen, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. There had no temptation taking you, but such as is common to man. You know, and something that's common to man, meaning that it's a common temptation.
Yeah.
All right, the Lord ain't gonna make something. He gonna make you go through this hell that no other brother in the truth been through. No, it don't work like that, man. It's an outlandish. You can't seek counsel. You don't know what to do. No, man.
Yeah.
All right, it's basic things that you're gonna go through, right? It's nothing that's gonna be an extreme, right? And that's what the Lord, he get ready to reiterate it. It says, but the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
And that right there, you know, beautiful point that you made, that'll cause confusion if you're going through something that nobody knows how to help you with. All right? Because the Lord is constantly telling you, all right, seek counsel, you know, if this goes wrong. Look at the times, look at what happened to him when this happened. Look at this when that happened. All right? And that's the reason of having a brotherhood, of having a body, you know, for everything to operate smoothly. All right? If I'm messed up anything with my body, my hand, I could look and see that, okay, it's messed up. What do I need to do? How can I fix it? All right, but if I don't have the eyes to see what's going on, what's the point? You know, if that analogy makes sense. But, you know, that's confusion. We know that the Lord is not about confusion in the scriptures, you know? You got it.
Real quick, I got something to back up what you said.
Yeah.
It's Sirach 32 and 19, just get the point. It says, do nothing without advice, which advice is counsel, right? It says, and when thou has once done, repent not. So once it's now, brother's not saying that's literally everything decision that you gotta make in life, you gotta get counsel from another brother about it. No, that's not what the scripture's saying. All right? It's saying, you know, when you got critical situations and things that are going on, all right, it's important that you seek counsel, man. You know, it's important that you talk with somebody about it, right? Because when you go and make decisions on your own, all right, they're gonna have a grave ramifications, man.
Yep.
That's why I said once you do it, you know, repent not, because you already made the decision, man. You know, go ahead.
Beautiful point.
He said, yeah,
Just going.
Yeah, it was just to back up that brother brought out in the Corinthians. It's James 1 and 12. It says, blessed is the man that endured temptation. For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord had promised to them that love him. Yep.
Promise. You know, it's promised by Yahweh Shem Yahushua to endure temptation. All right? Endurance, patience, discipline, you know, and many more that's not coming to mind right now, but it's many qualities of a prophet of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right? And all of those roads lead to your crown. You know, so that's why it will behoove you to do all of these things diligently. All right? You got more on that?
That's pretty much.
Con.
Kind of pass.
Got something?
I had
No, what I tell you? Matthew.
I got one, and bring it out with Rashad, kind of go right along what he was saying. 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 12, it said, beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. So that's just going into, you know, like you're going to suffer a lot of different things, you know, like persecution, adversity. You might lose your job, you might lose your loved one, you might lose your entire family. You know, and the Lord is going to try you and test you through all these different adversity, you know, the fiery trial. So we can't think that it's a strange thing we go to. There ain't no one going through this but me. I'm catching all kind of here. Y'all just floating, you know, but that's your walk. So that's one thing about it. So you got to be prepared. You got to count the cost when you come into this truth to endure, to get to the finish line, which in fact is the kingdom of heaven that dwells in Christ. You got it, man.
God, yeah, that woe is me spirit, that's something that, you know, the Lord ain't dealing with that, man. All right? You know, with these trials and tribulations that we're going through, that shit wicked up there, man. With the trials and tribulations that we're going through, Papa, should I read that precept for me again? That shit. Yeah, I saw it and then it started making noise.
1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 12, it says, beloved, think it's not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you.
Done. You know, furthermore, just trying to continue my point, you know, it's something that, you know, pretty much is nothing crazy at the end of the day. I know we brought it out in Corinthians, but still, you know, it's a fiery trial that you need to go through at the end of the day, you know, to be tested. All right? You know, this whole thing is a test of from Yahweh by Shem Yahushua to see are we worthy enough to even, you know, get this crown, you know?
Sirach 2 from the top. Yeah. Verse 1, it says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, prepare yourself for temptation. Prepare your soul for temptation. All right, because some crazy things in the water, that kind of got me back on track. You know, temptation is going to be some stupid shit that's going to happen. And like I said, my testimony, I can remember when I first started getting understanding of this truth, you know, my car burned down. All right, so my car burned down. I found out about all of this, and I had no way to get to camp, you know, or whatever. This is maybe like my second or third day trying to get to camp, and I can't get there. But I'm trying to make an impression on the brothers of like, all right, I'm trying to come out here. So what I do, I go to plan B. I know how to catch the RTA. I know how to get on a bus and so on and so forth and get to where I need to go. So, all right, so there's no excuses of why you're not doing this work. If you don't have a vehicle, if you stay too far, you know, it's something that you just got to gird your loins up as a man. And if this is what you believe in, you got to go stand on it and go handle that business, you know?
Yeah, if I can say real quick, because when you enter in this truth, you starting to open you basically shining a beacon light on yourself to these different demons.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, you know, it's inevitable for these demons to you know, come and attack you. You can't dodge that. You can't skate your way through this truth trying to avoid, you know, nah. You gotta rely on the protection of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and the best way to increase that protection is to what? To submit to him. You know, but like I was saying, you know, that's why shit start to happen. Whether it be with your car, whether it be with your woman, interactions with people in the world, all of these things are done in the spirit first. Then it starts to transpire through the physical. Right? When you get into it with a guy at the fucking gas station, it's not the guy. The guy don't even know you.
Right.
It's a fucking demon that knows you.
Right.
The demon recognizes, oh, this is one that, you know, the Lord said try. I'm about to try him. Let's see how far you done came. You know?
Right.
So these are the different spiritual interactions, I'm gonna say encounters you have on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and you know, to back you up even more, the Lord even allow you to kind of build and grow from that, and then double back on you with the same situation in a more extreme manner, and see how you're gonna hold it then. Did you learn something from that first experience, or are you still that same nigga? You know?
Because the whole purpose of this trial and error is what? To put off the old man.
Right.
Not to live with him and you overbearing him a little. Nah, to put him off. To kill the old man. That's the whole objective of this thing. It's not good. You got it.
It's about growing.
Yeah.
These situations, these tests, all right, that the Lord give you, it's about growing, man. All right, if you're not growing in this truth spiritually, all right, mentally, all right, even physically,
Even
man.
physically.
You know, if you're not growing in the truth, then what are you doing?
Right.
You wasting your time, man.
Brothers always say, hey, they look different from the first time they came in the truth.
Yeah.
That's because you started to eat well,
Yeah.
right? Your fucking conscience then improved. The way you think, the way you, just your general thoughts have been improved by these scriptures, man. You see? And that's what it's about. We're in the business of transforming.
Yes,
Yeah.
bro.
You can't coexist with your old man.
Yeah.
And it's gonna show,
Yep.
and you're gonna get rooted out if you don't tend to that shit fast, man.
This is the point that we should be at the point that you should be offended. You know, if Jake hit you with that word that says, man, that's the same old nigga. He on the same shit. You know, we're not trying to be recognizable to these people in the world. You know, at the end of the day, we can give two shits less about these niggas in the world. All right, all we're trying to do is run our race and obtain our crown. You know, at the end of the day, do the things that we need to do. All right, our due diligence. You know.
Got something for you
Come on.
quick. Because this is what the truth does, man. Alright, real quick. So like this the book of Ecclesiastes 8 and 1, and it reads, Who is as the wise man, and who knoweth the interpretation of a thing, and a man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed. You see, so the whole a man's countenance starts to change in this thing. You know, you start to, like you said, it should be offensive. Of course, you're not gonna combat nobody about saying you look the same or whatever,
Right.
but it should offend you.
Yeah.
You know, it should, because obviously, with every other brother that come out here, the same shit happen. You change.
Right.
But
That's like if you go into the gym and you constantly going into the gym and somebody say you still skinny. Hey, you fat. You the same thing that I've seen a couple years ago. You thinking in your head, man, I've been going to the gym 5 days straight, 3 years, and I thought I was doing good. And they're like, nah, you stagnant. You doing something that makes you look like your old self, But it's a compliment when you see somebody like, Lord, like, I ain't never expect you to get like this. Once it seems like there's something strange, that's what makes it more beautiful, that know that you're doing the right thing. All right, if we look like some fools, like I said, we're fools for Hamashiach's sake. All right, we're gonna look like fools. We're gonna, look like the black sheep. When it comes to certain things with our family members, we're gonna be those weirdos out there on the block with dresses. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we know, what the Lord wants for us and what we need to do.
And you can't forget. What is he in a cult?
In a cult, yeah.
What's going on with that? He just not. He don't come around celebrate the holidays.
Right.
You call him for his birthday. He don't even say thank you.
You Muslim, huh?
Yeah. What's going on? I don't know what's going on with him.
Cause bro, if you growing spiritually over time, if you steady growing, you grow more away from the world too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people gonna start to hate you more. Even your loved ones, they gonna hate you more.
you dress different.
Different, everything.
And you start to talk different. You start to talk more intelligent. Like this brother pointing out, the linings. I had a woman say that, damn, you come to work, but you don't never be having no lining. Be like, so what? Like, bitch, mind your business. Like, I'm doing some shit, like, be. I don't got to explain that to you, but I'm just saying that to say, these are the things that these people see, right? They see these changes. And best believe, if you don't think they paying attention, brother, they paying attention. For real.
Because again, what most people think, they think that, what I hear from family members, I don't think that's profitable. They try to combat what they think is profitable in the walks of life versus what we think is profitable, which is these scriptures.
Right.
We understand that there's no continuous city in this world. We know that this thing is going to come to an end, so that we need to start investing our time more and more into the scriptures for our kingdom. All right, but they'll tell you that I don't think it's beneficial for you to be doing this because you could be working on family, what they call it with the wealth, the family generational wealth.
Yeah.
You could be focusing on this and doing this with yourself and starting this business and like, bro,
Starting a family.
Starting a family,
All
come on.
that.
I don't got time for that. All right, the things that I got going on right now, this is enough. All right, this work is enough for me to keep me busy. So I'm going to keep my focus on this, especially knowing that it's going to be rewards that you can't even imagine that's going to come behind it. This is a no-brainer for you to continue to push and work in this thing. Rather than give your focus into temporary bullshit.
Got you. You got a quick one? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, come.
It's Sirach 38 and 24, the wisdom of a learned man coming by the opportunity of leisure.
Yep.
And he that had little business shall become wise.
He that has little business should be wise, all right? You don't want to be a busybody in this thing, all right? And coming up, Jake could have their testimonies coming into this truth, Jake still wanted the entire world at some point in time. But again, that's part of the old man, all right? That old man of feeling like that you want to do this and you want to do this and you still want to balance the truth with it, it's not going to work, all right? You can never balance the truth with all of these other things. The truth always got to be that main focus. That's your foundation. That's the ground that you do everything around the truth. All right, and then sometimes, in the world, you might get caught up with these demons and so on and so forth, and Jake can speak on it because Jake didn't went through it before. All right, all of these troubles and trials and tribulations that's going to happen, you just got to know that, all right, as long as you make this your focus, the Lord is going to work with you and make everything around you sufficient for you,
Yeah, especially with a younger man who's not established, you know, in the world.
Right.
You're still trying to figure out jobs, you know, you're still trying to get your situation straight with possibly a car, all right? You're trying to get out of your mom's shit, you know, and you're trying to build your level, you're trying to come up on a level in the truth too, you know? So that's why it's imperative that you take your free time, all right? Make the most of that. Do some reading, man. Do some studying, right? Go over a breakdown. Go over a lesson, all right? That's your leisure time, all right? Do these things first. You can figure all that other stuff out later, man, all right? Because this is what's going to get you the kingdom of heaven, right? There's nothing wrong with advancing yourself, all right? Taking up a trade, right? That you still can go to camp. You still can make the conferences, all right? The different classes, you know. You still what you call that? You're still active, all right, within the ministry. It's not taking away from the truth. That's cool. You know, nothing's wrong with trying to get yourself to a better level, right? So you can live just a little bit more comfortably, all right? The Lord said, give us this day our daily bread, man, you know? And that's all we need is our daily bread. You got a roof over your head. You got a car you could drive, right? You got some clothes. You got food in the crib, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's all we need, man. You know, go ahead.
I just want to add to what you were saying. A lot of times, you know, if you're a man of the Lord and you're in this truth, when you don't do the work first, it's gonna bug you the whole day that you didn't do the work.
right.
So you done spent your time, you know, basically doing all kinds of other stuff, but you never got around to the most important part of the day, which was doing the work. And it just, if you're a man of the Lord, it's gonna keep bugging you until you actually do it. So it's always good to do it, get it done first, and then, you know, take on your pleasures or whatever, you know.
Yeah, but that comes with sacrificing, man. Say a brother got family, right? He might live in a house with people, but if I live in a house with my parents, I know what time my parents get up, so I'm gonna get up earlier. I'm gonna set an alarm even though I'm off. I'm gonna get up early because I know if I'm trying to get into the scriptures, get into something, I got people that's bothering me, so it's gonna throw my spirit off, right? If I got a family, then I'm gonna get up before that's a sacrifice you got to make, man. You know? Go ahead.
Just real quickly, and it's gonna land back off of what you was talking about earlier.
Oh, let me say this real quick, because the Lord is all the thing that we sacrifice, brother, is our time. That's the most important sacrifice that we can give, all right, in these very last end of times. It's our time, man.
Right.
All right, we come out on a Saturday, all right, for a couple hours. That's sacrificing our time, man. Young men, all right, in the early 20s, late 20s, late 30s, right, late 40s, you know.
No excuses.
Ain't no excuses, man. We come out here and we sacrifice our time week in and week out, man, because we truly believe in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, and we truly believe that doing this work, Lord willing, we continue doing this work is what's going to get us into the chariots, man. You know, we can be doing anything, all right, but the Lord got us doing this.
Brothers
you know?
could have been out the country,
Yeah.
you know, passport bros.
Yeah.
Brothers could have been, you know, whatever. We got July 4th that just passed. We got Mardi Gras that happened down here. That's just days that just pass by that don't even cross brothers' radar because we know it's bigger business to handle. What they say, bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
You know, it's more business to do.
I got to appreciate, but I just want to add on to what you were saying too. A lot of times I go to work, and when I go to work, I had to put my time in. And the person at work who's over me, he's always telling me to put my holiday pay in. And because the holiday is never on my mind to even, you know what I'm saying, to put it in.
Yeah.
He's like, man, you're gonna miss out on 8 hours or time and a half and this. He's like, why you don't never think about the holidays? Because my mind is set on today is not even a holiday.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Right.
But this is a quick precept going into what you was talking about earlier about, you know, with other people and stuff like that. The points are full, but I'm gonna get sort of at the top. It says this 1 Peter 4:1. It says, for as much then as Hamashiach has suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that hath suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin.
Yep.
Verse 2, and it says, that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of the power. Right? So that goes into what? You know, us separating ourselves from other people. You know what I'm saying? They say, hey man, you know, you used to be the same guy that used to go chase after tail and do all the rest of this kind of stuff. You say you ain't doing that no more.
Right.
He's like, no, man, you know, because you're doing the work of the Lord, and they're doing the lust of men.
Right.
But it's got a little more on that. it says, verse 3, it says, for the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles. Meaning we used to do all the same things the heathen used to do. Used to go out, party, whatever. Some brothers may party, some brothers may drink, you know what I'm saying? Or other brothers may celebrate holidays or just have a good time in general. Those are the things that we used to do, right? And it says, it's actually going to go into it, says, when we walked in lasciviousness, lusts, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries. And that was the will of the Gentiles, man. All of those different things combined into one, right? Causing confusion. But here's the point. It says, verse 4, it says, wherein they think it strange that ye run not with them to the same access of riot, speaking evil of you. So that you just like you said, man, you know, man, it's so-and-so, he used to do the same thing we used to do. You're not doing it no more, man. That's crazy. Right. You know, and then as soon as you turn your back, you know, they talking to the next person saying, man, he I don't know, he bugged out, you know.
He weird, I know him, you know.
Right.
He ain't really like that,
Right.
you know. Me and him, like I said, me and him used to such and such in the world. Like, obviously, yeah, we used to sin back in the day, you know. That's part of the flesh that we in, and everybody got their own testimony story of some crazy shit that we used to do back in the day. But that's but that's not nothing that we harping on at this point. All right, we're trying to look past it and work for our crown at the end of the day. You know what it says, that our righteousness is as filthy rags. All right, so we're not innocent. All right, so again, that should light another fire under you to you know, have that fear in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, to know that the Lord can take you away any day off of one of your past sins that you've probably done, that we're all guilty of. You know, so try to get to that covering, get to that strong tower, you know, as the scriptures say, and try to get in that thing and stay in it at the end of the day, you know? But
yeah, I just backing up what you were saying. You hear me? That's Psalms 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in the law do he meditate day and night. So we stay in these scriptures. We stay out the way of the world, and that keep us planning, like it's going to the next verse. That keep us planning, even though we're gonna go through what we go through. We're gonna be planting like that tree by the river.
Barbara Sharp, but not give me that Ephesians. We hit you. 6 and 5. Yeah. Kind of read down to 7.
This is the book of Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5. Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters, according to the flesh, with fear and trembling in singleness of your heart, as unto Hamashiach Yahushai.
You can stop right there. And just so you know, it could be edification could come behind it. People get messed up around the word masters and so on and so forth, and might think of it in a slavery way. Or no, if you go into the etymology of that word or the blue letter of the word, it's nothing but your teacher at the end of the day.
If I can say real quick, I'm gonna let you continue, because of the ways of this world, everybody is in a do as thou wilt spirit. So when they hear a word like master, like for a man to call somebody else his master, that's really honor. You're honoring the person that taught you something. Okay? But these people of this world, they're so soft and emotional, they would never call somebody their master.
Right.
We do it willingly, man. We got masters in this truth, man. All right? Elders, that's right.
That's just how you can't call your woman your possession.
Your possession.
Same, just like that. You can't say that.
Y'all can I say all the time, people get so bent out of shape behind simple shit, man.
Right.
I just want to say that.
And have zero understanding. That's why
right.
having an understanding of this thing is important. All right, so like I said, if the dude name wrong, but it's, you know, Dragon Ball Z, his name is Master Roshi, right?
Yeah, Master Roshi.
Master Roshi. So you see with the Japanese and the sensei and this
Right.
and that, they those fighters or whatever, those warriors that had that person that taught them how to fight and how to battle, they referred to them as their master. You know, just because giving them the honor of learning from underneath them, which more will we do? Yeah, respect.
And when you go deeper into that, it's a taboo in their culture to go against your master.
Right.
Like nobody else respect you after you do that. That's one of the worst things you can do, and just basically in their society. But Jay should take notes, man. Obviously they get it from us.
Right.
They get structure and shit from us, but you got it, man.
Hell yeah. But you know, that was just kind of a branch of harping on that word master, but you can continue.
It's back in Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 6.
So like, just read it all the way through again.
Okay. This is back in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5. Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters, according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, in singleness of your heart, as unto Hamashiach, Yahushua.
Keep going.
Verse 6. Not with eye service as men pleasers, but as the servants of Hamashiach, Yahushua, doing the will of Yahweh from the heart.
One more.
Verse 7. With good will doing service as to the Lord and not to men.
Having, you know, let's break it down from the beginning. That singleness of the heart, you know. Everything that we're doing is for the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right, so the work that we're doing, you know, if we boast in anything, we boast that we know the Lord. So everything that we are doing, we account that to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua again. All right, but it says, not with eye service as men pleasers. All right, so we're not trying to please none of these niggas in this world. We're not out here looking for clout for none of you niggas. We don't, you know, we ain't looking for no endorsement deals, no NIL, you know, whatever could possibly come from this thing. You know, we're not trying to sign that whatever that C3 charter, you know, that these other businesses might have out here, you know, preaching the word. You know, we're not doing that. All right, we're doing this as servants of Hamashiach. All right, and it says again, verse 7, with good will doing service as to the Lord and not to the men. You know, just furthermore wrapping up the point. You know, we working for the Lord, man.
Yeah, I want to say too, yeah, even to a point where like even our apostles, elders, cause a lot of JWL do work trying to get approved by apostles and elders, but even the elders already say they can't get you to salvation, man.
Right.
You know, so hey, man, we gotta do it for ourselves, man. You know, we should want to do the work, man, for the Lord. You know, cause the only Lord, He gonna approve us at the end of the day. No separate plan.
Got something?
Yeah. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 1, and verse 23, and it reads, a patient man will bear for a time, and and afterward joy shall spring up unto him. And that's just going back into what you were saying before you got your last two precepts about how we abstain from the world. Right? When you go in the word patient, it means to suffer. Right? So when I'm gonna read it again and replace that word a patient man. Right? It says a suffering man will bear for a time, and afterward joy shall spring up unto him. And what's that joy? Alright? First and foremost on this side, appreciating the man that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua has created you to be through abstaining from different, things in the world. Alright? But then what? Also receiving that ultimate reward, which is the kingdom of heaven, man. And salvation. What you got it out.
Bring out that Matthew for me, for sure.
This is Matthew 7 and 24. It says, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock.
You can stop right there. That built his house on a rock. All right, and what's the quality of a rock? Solid. All right, so this is just about to be, again, red letters, Yahweh Shah speaking. The Lord is about to give an analogy of how you need to build, your spirit, how to build, your everyday doings. All right, and every building that we all know that comes from the ground up, it starts up from a foundation,
A solid foundation.
A solid foundation at that.
Because you could have it could be built upon sand, and then you just get washed away.
Gone.
Got it.
We got the little nursery rhymes with the three little pigs and shit. How none of their foundations was solid until the third one that finally had the solid foundation and had the solid surroundings. And that's what saved them from that wolf. But continue on.
Yeah, verse 25. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock.
It was founded upon a rock again, and it's crazy enough. I forgot that it said this, and I made the mention with the three pigs and the wolf blowing the thing. But again, when the winds blew and beat upon the house, that's all of these trials and tribulations that's going on around us. All right, that's beating bros up and abusing things of your everyday life. All right, and if you're not solid, if you're not planning where you're at, you're gonna fall. you know. But the moment that you lock in, you get your right base, you get the right supports, everything that you need, you know, can't nothing move you. You're gonna be an immovable object, you know.
Verse 26. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it.
And great was the fall of it. All right, so that's the result of not having a solid foundation. If you have something like sand that if you catch it while it's dry, yeah, you can build something with sand. You know, they got people at the beaches making crazy art with sand castles and, you know, things that it's like, how is it standing right now? Because when sand is dry, it can become solid. All right, but it's like if you do sand and water kind of mix with each other. You mix it up kind of like a clay type thing, you know. But furthermore, you know, if the rain, more stronger waters would ever hit it, that thing is going to come tumbling down easy. All right, and the Lord sees them, what it said, as a fool. You know, you'll be a fool to set your foundation on nothing that is not really beneficial at the end of the day. If it's not going to stand forever, it really has no purpose of even being there, you know?
And that rock would be likened to Yahweh Shai.
That's what.
Oh, he got yes,
All right, this is just real quick. This is 1 Peter 2 and verse. I'll start at verse 5, pointing to verse 6. It says, "Ye also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to the power by Yahweh Shai HaMashiach." So, like you were saying, you know, we're the stones in place for Yahweh Shem Shai, you know, that the Lord's going to put in place, in which He's doing right now. But the points in 6, it says, "Wherefore also it is contained in the scripture, behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believeth on Him shall not be confounded." Right. So Yahweh Shem Shai is the sure foundation. That's the rock. That's what you want to. That's if you're building on anything else besides that foundation, it will fall. That's why it's laid there in the scriptures, and it tells you that the people that didn't use Him as the foundation, they all their ministries came to naught.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Right, because that's what the parable, all right, or the analogies that Yahweh Shai is using. He's basically telling you, look, if you build your house, which is the brother read it beautifully, all right, which you are spiritual temples now, right? If you build your house upon me, then you can't go wrong, right? But when you build your house upon, these different doctrines, these different philosophies, all right, when things start to happen, that's going to vanish. That's going to wash away. But when you build it upon me, look, this is something that you can stand firm in, man, because we know that Yahweh Shai has never forsaken us, man. All right, even from the times of Egypt, right, all the way up till now, right, in which He left us what? The Comforter. I got two scriptures though.
Oh, I just want to add on to what you're going to say real quick. It talks about what in the scriptures talk about the builders rejected the foundation, man.
Yeah.
Which means they rejected the teachings of Yahweh Shem Shai. Like just backing you up on them going to what different doctrines and philosophies. You know.
Yep.
But you got it.
Real quick, I got two right quick, brother. This Colossians 2:6. It says, "As ye have therefore received Hamashiach Yahweh Shai the Lord, so walk ye in Him, rooted and built up in Him, and established in the faith, as ye have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving." So it said rooted and built up, right? And He said, "Whoever heareth these sayings of mine, I will liken him unto a wise man that builded his house upon a rock." Right? So you got to be rooted and built up in Yahweh Shai, man. Right? In verse 8, it's right after verse 7. Verse 8, it says, "Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy, in vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Hamashiach Yahweh Shai." So it's quick, straight to the point. All right? Beware of these different philosophies that's out there. All right? These different seducing doctrines, man. All right, because if you're not properly rooted, all right, established in the rock of Yahweh Shai, all right, the chief stone, okay, then it's gonna be easy for you to be spoiled, man. All right, by these different doctrines. You want to say something?
Yeah, kind of just going into that whole building thing, man. Hey, the foundation determines what kind of building you're about to build, or what house or whatever it may be. So with your house shot being perfect, okay, hey, that's if you running into that perfect tower, right? It has no weaknesses. It has no soft spots, okay. It has. That's why it won't tumble over.
Right.
There's nothing that could defeat it. But I just wanted to make that point.
I got one more.
Come on, bring it up.
There's Ephesians chapter 2, verse 19. It says, "Now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints in the household of the Most High, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets," right? What's the apostles and the prophets? All right, the elders. All right, these different men that come before us, what they established the same foundation that Yahweh Shai left for us to continue to build upon, man. All right, as it says in Matthew, all right, we have entered into their labors.
Yep.
You know, well, enter into their labors. What we are continuing to build the house, man. You see, it says, and are built upon the foundations of the apostles and the prophets, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach himself being the chief cornerstone, in whom all the building fitly framed together, growing unto an holy temple in the Lord, in whom ye are also builded together for a habitation of our power through the Spirit. So that's what we're doing, man. We spiritual builders, man.
Yeah.
You know, starting with Yahweh Shai, all right, then he gave what? The Holy Spirit to, going with Abba Bibbins on down, man. Right. All right, the elders of our elders, man. The elders of their elders, man, all the way down to the youngest men now. You see, and this is the foundation that's being built. It's set. We can see the house is almost finished, man. You know, and we just got a little bit left to go, but you got it.
Yeah, it's like a beautiful point that you made, and plenty of precepts just bringing back the point full circle of why Yahweh Bashim Shai should be that foundation.
He's
all
the
right?
rock, man.
He's the rock.
Yep.
All right. It's no way, no how that you could go wrong, dealing with that. All right, with that immovable source, and it was a point I was gonna make. You can go ahead.
All right, this is just backing up the brother from the Colossians, the 2nd chapter. This is Matthew 15 and verse 8. It says, "This people draw nigh unto me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me." Right, going into Colossians, I believe it's 2 and 8, where it says that the vain philosophies, deceits of men, taking on other doctrines and philosophies and the ways of men, right? And it says, "But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. And he called the multitude and said unto them, Hear and understand. Now that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth the man." Going into what is the previous verses is doctrines and philosophies. Verse 12, it says, "Then came his disciples and said unto him, Knowest thou that the Pharisees were offended after they have heard this saying?" Here's the point. It says, "But he answered and said, Every plant which my heavenly Father have not planted shall be rooted up." So it goes back into what? The elders, or the different wise men of that time period, they didn't have the proper foundation, man. They weren't built upon a rock. And that's what he was trying to teach them. You know what I'm saying? You got to go with what I'm telling you to go with, or y'all going to fail, man.
Yep. And the water, Shai, you sparked my memory back when you said that. What it says in Sirach, look at the generations of the old, whoever trusted in the Lord was confounded. So if the Lord just sat here and gave you a recipe of do this for me, and then if there's anything else you want to do it around me, that should be something that should stick to your mind. All right, that's a winning recipe. That's a recipe that you can't fail at. All right.
And he literally tell you, like, go look at the receipts. It never failed.
Right.
Just go look. You could go look. Just go look. It ain't never failed.
Hey, and if I can say, the receipts in Hebrews 11, for those who don't know,
Yes.
man.
No.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hebrews 11, go read it.
Oh no, you got
Hebrews 6.
6 like it.
Yeah.
Hit that Jeremiah for me, probably shut.
That is Jeremiah 2:11. It says, had the nation changed their powers, had the nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods, but my people have changed their glory for that which doth not profit. Be astonished, O ye heavens, at this, and be horribly afraid. Be ye very desolate, said the Lord Yahweh. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water.
So again, the Lord gives out again many parables and analogies in the scriptures. All right, so we just got some of the scriptures on the rock foundation, and this is about to be the scriptures on the living waters. All right, because we know that Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai is the source of living waters. But what that's going into is that our people giving their time and their belief into shit that's just really not beneficial for you. A cistern that can't hold water is a worthless cistern. All right, the point of the cistern is to hold the water. But little do our people know that while they're messing with the cistern, and trying to deal with that if you just look to your right, it's a source of living water. That you will never run out. What the Lord says that if you drink this water, you'll never thirst again. Yeah, more than that.
I'm saying I can't sell me.
I got one real quick.
Go ahead.
This is going into those waters. This is Proverbs 5, verse 13, and it says, "And they have not obeyed the voice of my teachers," going into the true prophets, nor inclined mine ear to them that instructed me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. That's the point. It said in verse 15, it says, "Drink waters out of thine own cistern, and running waters out of thine own wells. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of waters in the streets." And that's what we're doing, right? Proclaiming this truth. We're giving our living waters in the street, and we're drinking water from out of our own cistern, which is in representation of this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. This truth, that's been given to us.
Beautifully spoken. Hit that John for me, Bubba Shaw.
John 4 and
13, or it might be a little high. Could it start with the woman? Yeah, the woman said 13.
Between John 4.
got something.
Yeah, John 4 and 13. Yeah, go ahead.
It's John 7. You got that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
All right. This is John 7 verse.
Start at 37.
You can just run through it.
This is the book of John, chapter 7, verse 37. In the last day, that great day of the feast, Yahushua stood and cried, saying, "If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink."
Right, and it's not literal. Okay? It's not the Lord saying, "Look, if y'all thirsty, I got some water for y'all to drink." Go ahead.
Verse 38, "He that believeth on me, as the scripture had said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water."
Right, and like the brother just alluded to with those righteous cisterns, all right? When you believe it on Yahushua, out of your belly is going to flow rivers of living water, man, which represents the word. You see? And once water starts to flow, it don't have a path of where it's going to stop. It's going to reach everywhere you can imagine, man. Go ahead. You got it, bro.
Oh, come on. Hit that John.
It's John 4 and 11, verse 11. It says, "The woman said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle?"
Which this woman didn't know who she was speaking to, but you can continue.
Yahushua answered and said unto her, "Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst, but the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life."
Everlasting life. That's the result of drinking from, you know, what you brought out, you know.
Spiritual water.
Yeah, the spiritual water, you know, our cisterns, you know, our source of Yahweh Shah being those living waters, right? You won't thirst again. You know, the physical water that you can actually drink, you know, you'll be thirsty, you know, within the next couple hours if need be, you know. But again, that's everlasting life that comes with, you know, hearkening and doing the works of Yahweh Shah, you know, plain and simple, you know.
Right, because basically drinking the water is basically saying that the waters of Yahweh Shema Shah is saying your spirit will be content with this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you go with something else, you're gonna be all over the place.
Right.
You might take a following of the world from Confucius, and then a little bit from Pluto or Plato. You know what I'm saying? Then you mix it with Islam. You know, and you have all these different points from all these different doctrines.
Because
but
you're always thirsty.
You're always thirsty,
Yeah.
right? You know what I'm saying? So you're always drinking, right? Which means you're always taking in a new philosophy that makes sense. It's good to the ear. You know?
That's just like Romans 11:7. It said Israel, you know, finds what it's seeking for.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's still seeking.
But the election have
Tell
obtained.
you, the rest was black.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Come. Real quick.
Say 30:22.
Yeah, 30:22.
All right, this is Deuteronomy 32 and verse 2. It says, my doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass.
All right, and again, you know, furthermore, bringing up the Lord mentioning right here, the water as the doctrine, but what is it doing to these herbs that is touching? It's giving it life, all right? It's building it, it's helping it grow, all right? Furthermore, just backing up the points of that the waters of Yahweh Shema Shah, all right? It has nothing but benefits to whatever it touches, you know? Anybody got?
Yeah, I got one. Just to add into it, says, you know, touching the herbs, going into greenery and the grass too. This is Isaiah 40 and verse 6. Verse 6, it says, the voice said, cry, and he said, what shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all the goodliness thereof is as the flower of the field. The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, because the spirit of the Lord bloweth upon it. Surely the people is grass. So that's what it was talking about in Deuteronomy the 32nd chapter. That water that was flowing to all those herbs and different greenery, vegetation, grass is just people, right?
Yep.
Which are the Israelites.
You know,
Good point.
you know, as well as trees. You know, trees in the scriptures is counted as, you know, as men, as people. All right, but
What do trees need to grow?
water.
Come on.
Yes, brother.
Water.
Yeah. Come, you got it.
James chapter 5 and verse 7 said, be patient therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Said the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and has long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain. You want to speak on that?
You speak on.
But it's just like, you know, the Lord, you know, he waiting on these precious fruit. You know, that's why he constantly watering us, you know, constantly building us up, you know, with that growth, you know, with that nourishment, with this truth, this knowledge, you know. So right now we're in the latter rain. You know, Lord, it's almost harvest time. Lord, get ready to come in harvest. You know, you said what? Reap what you sow. So the Lord he getting ready to reap. Go ahead, man.
No, I got something to back you up.
Yeah, because I would have kept going on. Go ahead, man. You
This
got
is Zechariah 10 and verse 1. It says, ask of the Lord rain in the latter time, in the time of the latter rain. So the Lord shall make bright the clouds and give them showers of rain to every one grass in the field. So right, like we were just saying, the grass being the men, and the Lord is what? He's given an excess of rain, which what goes into an excess of his spirit, man. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. What brothers are being increased and nourished.
That's it.
You know?
That's it. Waiting on the latter rain, the precious fruit, which in fact is what the elect. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Lord is coming back for. You know what I'm saying? That's all we gotta do is what? Endure. You know what I'm saying? You know, we can't run out of the oil, the precious fruit, the water. You know, the Lord give us all the necessity that we need to succeed.
Right.
You know, so you know, Lord, he's waiting on us. So we right now. So the Lord, he waiting. He's coming to get us.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what we waiting on, the kingdom of heaven. You got it, bro.
I got you.
Let's get this real quick.
Got you.
This Psalms 42.
I was holding that. I got something else, but I was holding that earlier. Go ahead.
Come. Psalms 42 and 1. As the heart panted after the water brooks,
Got you.
so panted my soul after thee, O power.
You know, so it's like read that one more time.
I got it. You got more to it.
Come
It
on,
says, as the heart panted, H-A-R-T, not,
Yeah.
as the heart panted after the water brooks, so panted my soul after thee, O power. My soul thirsted for the Most High, for the living power. When shall I come and appear before the Most High?
You know, we thirsted, all right, well, still to this point, you know, we thirsting for more, you know, of this living water that the Lord has given, you know, until the moment that we are, you know, heirs to the throne and sitting, you know, next to the Lord at the end of the day, you know. But at this point in time, you know, furthermore, with the water parable, that, you know, we just ultimately thirsting. But continue on.
It says, verse 3, my tears have been my meat day and night, while they continually say unto me, where is thy power? When I remember these things, I pour out my soul in me, for I had gone with the multitude, I went with them to the house of the Most High, with a voice of joy and praise, with a multitude that kept holy day. Why art thou cast down, O my soul, and why art thou disquieted in me? Hope thou in the Most High, for I shall yet praise him for the help of his countenance.
Gone. You know, and again, pretty much, you know, that's how much we need the Lord at the end of the day. You know, so he could wipe our tears away. You know, we won't be under, you know, no more of this bullshit, and won't have to deal with anything of dysfunction anymore. All right, because this world is entirely dysfunctional. All right, so what our enemies camped around us, and you know, everything just in complete chaos. You know, that'll make you thirst for the Lord even more. You know, but you wanted more than that, or
That was pretty much.
that's all you want to read down to? Come on.
Got something too.
Come on.
Is this book Isaiah chapter 44, verse 1. It says, Yet now, hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus said the Lord Yahweh, that made thee, which formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring, and they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the watercourses. Right, and that's the Lord sending the Spirit down, man. And this is a clear cut scripture. It gives you the analogy, and then it tells you what the Lord likens what He's watering to, man. All right. It says He will pour the water upon him that is thirsty. Well, who's the ones that's thirsty? It's us, man. All right. Because any brother that's here, they were in some way, form, or fashion seeking the truth. All right. They were thirsting for truth. Yeah. You see. And the Lord, He was the one to give us the water, man. All right, to say, here you go. All right, to take this drink. All right, and once we drunk it, we've never been searching for the truth again, man. You see, it says, huh?
Quenched our thirst.
Yeah, it quenched our thirst, man. It says, and floods upon the dry ground, I will pour my spirit upon thy seed. So the Lord has literally poured His spirit upon the seed of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. All right, those who were slated for salvation. All right, not destruction. Y'all got it.
It is bottom.
Yeah. That looks like Sirach 24.
You got to know. Sirach 24, and let's start at 25, and it reads, he filleth all things with his wisdom, as Pison and as Tigris in the time of the new fruits, like you was going into, right? That time of harvest.
Yeah.
Right, it tell you in that's Second Esdras, the 9th chapter, when it goes into his grapes of the cluster. It say he basically tended to them with great care.
Yeah.
That's a part of that watering.
With great labor.
With-
I have
that's-
made thee perfect.
With great labor.
Great
That's
labor.
it.
You see, it says he maketh the understanding to abound like the Euphrates and as Jordan in the time of harvest.
That's it.
See?
Harvest almost here.
It says, he maketh the doctrine of knowledge appear as the light and as Gion in the time of vintage. The first man knew her not perfectly, no more shall the last find her out. For her thoughts are more than the sea, and her counsels profounder than the great deep. I also came out as a brook from a river, and as a conduit into a garden.
Yep.
I said, I will water my best garden, and will water abundantly my garden bed. And lo, my brook became a river, and my river became a sea.
Come on, man.
Woo! Yeah, that bottled up
Beautiful.
everything brother's been going into.
That's heavy.
You know about that spiritual water, man. You
Yeah,
know.
brother.
But he
Go ahead.
said, he
I
said,
see a
look,
whole man,
I'll
you
water
go-
my best garden, though.
That's dark.
He was the best garden. Elect, man, you know? And that's what the Lord, he's done a beautiful job at watering that garden, man. Go ahead.
Hey, when you brothers be sitting back, you know, and studying, hey, just go, sit and think about where you was in the world.
Yeah.
When you was your so-called best self. You have topped that triple, quadruple.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna say 7 for completion.
Yeah.
You see? Well, we almost at that 7-fold. You know,
Yeah.
Lord willing, we
Yeah.
we gonna be 7-fold then, but
So-
you wanna say something?
Go ahead. You go ahead and finish up what you're saying.
Nah, yeah, you
Yeah.
got, you got it.
It's just like, the harvest is right. So the harvest now, we at the end of the world, it's right. Who is right? The elect. So the Lord is getting ready to reap what he was sown, which in fact was what the elect, with this wisdom, this knowledge, this understanding, he watered us. See, we ready. We ready for the Lord's return. So it's harvest time. So we at the end of this night, man. The latter rain of this thing. So all we got to do is constantly what? Persevere, endure. The Lord has gave us all the necessities that we need. That's all we got to do is keep following the blueprint, which in fact is Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. So we almost there. Lord's getting ready. It's already been planted. We done grown up into hell, man. We righteous now. We ready.
Yeah.
We ready to get out of here. Go ahead, you got it.
Yeah, been ready to get out.
Yeah, we ready to go.
Jay been ready to been
Hey, we ready
harvest.
to get the hell out of here. It's harvesting time.
God, brother.
Shit, the Lord finna pick his garden. We finna go.
Yes, brother.
Get the hell out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, this Romans 8 and 17. 18. Salaki. It says, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High.
Come. So again, it says, for I reckon for the suffering of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which should be revealed in us. At the end of the day, all of this bullshit and folly that we're going through, this is going to be as nothing ever happened. All right, and furthermore, harping on the point with the harvesting, us being ready to be harvested and waiting for the Lord, that moment of finally being harvested and picked, that's going to be more glorious than the entire ride.
Nah, I was just gonna say, because when you go into husbandry, it's real dirty, all right? And if a brother can grab that too, well, I'll probably grab. I think it's in Sirach 6, I believe. Hate not laborers' work that the Lord ordained, but nevertheless, hey, you got so it's 7. Yeah, nevertheless, man, you got so many different steps that goes into husbandry. That's why I say he kept it with great labor. All right, hey, and you explained it beautifully, man. When you pick that fruit and it's perfectly right, all right, it's sweet, all right, it look good, it's pleasing to the eye, no blemishes, all right. You forget about all the troubles that you went through, basically the weed pulling and the waking up early in the morning to water it daily,
Yeah.
watching out for pests. You know, you forget about all of that, man.
Yeah.
That's
Proper
heavy,
sunlight.
bro. Yeah.
What it tells you, better is the end of the thing than
Then
the
the beginning
then
of
the
the
beginning.
road. Yeah.
You know, so
Heavy.
that's what we waiting on, man. We waiting for the end of this thing, the downfall of this kingdom. You know, and for us to be in our full glory. You know, but hit that for me. 19, 18, 19.
You said 18 and 19?
8
8
and 19.
19? Yeah, this Romans 8 and 19 in the NLT. For all creation is waiting eagerly for that future day when the Most High will reveal who his children really are. Against its will, all creation was subjected to the Most High's curse, but with eager hope, the creation looks forward to the day when it will join the Most High's children in glorious freedom from death and decay.
One more, 21.
That was 21.
Oh, that was 21?
22?
No, so like I thought.
Yeah, that was 21.
Gone.
Which one? You want me to go back to the KJV or the whole thing?
I actually messed it up, to tell you the truth. It
Just
wasn't,
19 in it?
No, it wasn't the NLT. It was actually the GNT.
Oh, the GMS.
Yeah, I actually messed that up. But that still was good too. You know, at the end of the day. But this is our GNT. The same thing. It says all creation, Romans 8 and 19 in the GNT. It says all the creation waits with eager longing for God to reveal his children. For creation was condemned to lose its purpose, not of his own will, but because God willed it to be so. Yet there was the hope that creation itself would one day be set free from its slavery and decay and would share the glorious freedom of the children of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, you know, which is the end all be all. You know, we again, Jacob could harp on this all day, every day, and we know that we long for the suffering to be over with, man. All right, and obviously the revealing, you know, the cat's out of the bag, the revealing of everything is being known on the face of the earth right now, and that just brings us closer and closer to, you know, the end where we're going to be with Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, you know. But yeah, brother.
Be holding, brother.
Okay. Who got?
I got just to back up that brother Tyler Doc was saying.
Oh, you got some?
You know, about the earth being right,
Mhm.
right? Because when the Lord come back, all right, when you say you're a husbandman, all right, when you go to pick fruits, certain fruits you ain't gonna want, man.
Right.
All right, you didn't put the work in, the labor on these fruits, and they just was rotten, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because if you don't pluck them fruits, it's gonna take away from the integrity of the good fruit.
Yes.
Because they still that plant is still giving off energy and nutrients to that portion of that plant, man.
Yep.
You got it.
Yeah, it's Revelation 14 and 14. It says, and I looked and behold a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. Right, which a sickle is a what? It's a gardening tool, right? It's what you use to, you know, you basically you pluck your fruits with a sickle, right? It says, verse 15, and another angel came out of the temple crying with a loud voice, and that him that sat on the cloud thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle, and the earth was reaped.
Come. Yeah. So again, that's Yahweh Shai. Again, you talking about the sickle, that sickle being an instrument to, you know, knock shit down, you know, chop through the greenery. Yeah, yeah.
All of those. You cut that wheat.
Come. So like, read it. It's another point in the.
Yeah, cut it. Yeah. Yeah.
Where you started from?
14.
Read it.
Kind. It's Revelation 14. I'll start at 15. It says, and another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe.
Yeah, so it's ripe. It's ready to go. All right, that harvest that the Lord has been waiting for, you know, and you can see that the Lord likens us into, you know, his fruit, you know, to women, you know, and so on and so forth. It could be the Lord coming back down for the wedding, his bride. All right, but this instance right here is the Lord coming down to harvest his ripe fruit, you know, that is you know, ready to be taken up. you know. But let me
Yeah,
see.
but that goes into the good fruit and the bad fruit,
Go.
right? Because even Yahushua spoke about it, right? With the fruits that, unrighteous fruits, or fruits that bring forth not other good fruits is hewn down, cast into the fire, man.
Come.
You know, that's, I was looking for it. Oh, let me,
Yeah, I got
I think it's in 7.
Yes,
Yeah, man. 18?
Yeah.
Yep. It's Matthew chapter 7, verse 16. It says, "Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes or thorns or figs of thistles?" Right? So do you go and you just not get the grape, you grab the thorns? All right? When you get the fig, you just grab the thistles? No, man. Right? It says, "Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit," right? Which is likened to, men, all right, building their men up, all right? Like I said, the elders on down, right? They have building us up, which will bring forth good fruit, man. Right? Which represents sound doctrine, okay? The doctrine of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. It says, "But a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit," all right? As we can see, with these different camps, man, all right? These different pastors in these churches, man, bringing forth what? Corrupt fruit, man. Evil fruit, man. So what's going to happen to them? It says, verse 18, "A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them," right? And that's how the Lord, when he comes back to thrust that sickle in, all right, he's going to know the ones that was reaping the good fruit and the ones that was reaping evil fruits, man. All right, and it's a judgment for each one, whether it's good or it's evil. You see? It's either destruction or salvation, man. You got it.
Like I said, the Lord is coming back with that reward, which that reward goes both ways. So everything that the Lord, we dealing with a well-balanced power, man. So obviously, if it's going to be fruit that has, no nutrients or nothing, it needs to be cast away. It doesn't need to be around the fruit that's sitting good,
It was this parable. This is the parable before the house that was built upon a rock as well.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. That foundation.
Yeah. That's
But-
what it all tied back to, man.
It all falls back to it. You can go ahead. You got that yet?
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 13, and I'm gonna just get the point. It's 38, because this going into the parable of the wheat and the tares.
Yeah.
All right, but there's an important part that I'm gonna grab out of this. It says, "The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels."
Yes.
There you go.
Very plain. That's
That's
very
it.
plain. The angels are gonna be the ones, like you read in the Revelations.
Yeah.
All right, that's gonna be swinging that sickle, man.
Coming, baby.
You know.
Hit that,
That lady in the chair, fine too.
Yeah.
Fine on your ass too.
Yeah, and listen, it's not just
really.
the sickle, man.
Yeah.
The sickle just represents an instrument of gardening.
Yeah.
Right. If y'all brothers look at a picture of a sickle, it look. Go ahead.
I say it's an instrument of destruction.
Yeah,
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 we
I was
look
about
at
to
it.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
That's the iconic Grim Reaper's weapon of choice.
Yeah.
That's his name, the Grim Reaper.
That's why I say you're not coming to send peace on the earth, man. You come back with a
Well,
sword.
Yeah, how was shot a Grim Reaper?
Come on.
In a spiritual sense, though.
It's gonna be a dual mission, with deliverance and also destruction. Yeah, like we get busy. We get ready to get busy. Yes, yeah.
That's sickle.
It-
Bro,
look.
that's a. Hey, brother.
You got one of them right now, boy. Somebody come up and get boy. It's over.
When somebody see you with a sickle, they gonna turn around and go to
It's
the
over
place,
with.
man.
Yeah, yeah. Man, they have one of them long handles on. Yeah.
Yeah, this Hebrews 12 and 10. It says, "For they verily for a few days chasten us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness. Now no chastening for the present seeming
joyous.
Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
And just got straight to the point. Obviously, brother could have started higher, with the chastening, and he's not dealing with any chastening of the Lord. You're a bastard and not sons. But, just furthermore, just hopping on to the point, it says, now, no chastening for the present seem to be joyous, but grievous. All right? Again, brother was going into the husbandry. It's a grievous, cycle of things that needs to be done. All right? But again, at the end, it said, nevertheless, afterward, it yielded the peaceful fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. All right? And that chastening which the Lord is doing with us, is going to reap, so many benefits at the end of the day. What I brought out in the Romans, that it's not going to be compared. It can't be compared to anything else. Just how much the glory is going to be.
Well, even in our walk right now, when we get chastised, because I'm pretty sure brothers could go back and look back in their history of being in the walk and be like, damn, the Lord had me jacked up right here. Yeah. And then you be like, damn, you be kind of down, all right. But then when you overcome it, you be that much stronger in the spirit.
Yeah, and brothers brought it out too. Earlier with thinking not strange.
Yeah.
That chastening, brothers should be worried if you're not being chastised right now. All right, because it's like might as well get it on. Kind of talking about chastisement.
Yeah, I got something for you.
Kind. So like, let me make this point real quick. And then you next. But yeah, Hebrews 12:7 says, if ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons, for what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? All right, so you should be very, very worried if you're not receiving no type of chastisement and life is just gravy. You have no complaints about anything, and you want this world to go on. You're on the wrong side of things.
You a bastard.
Yeah, you a bastard. So at this point in time, brothers is definitely all in the spirit that we trying to get the hell out of here. All right, we don't want no more dealings with this. Jake ain't trying to go clock in at the plantation no more. Not trying to see our people, these YNs, these wicked Eves, and so on and so forth. We're not looking for none of this to continue. All right, but again, that's something that thinking not strange. That chastisement has to come if you're doing this walk. But
yeah, it's 1 Corinthians 11 verse 32. But when we are judged, we are chastening of the Lord, that we should not be condemned with the world.
Yes.
That's the main point, man. That's why we're being chastened right now, man. So, hey, man, we'll be condemned with the world. Because everybody else that's, exempt, for punishment right now, hey, they're going to be condemned, man. They're going to be destroyed. Because they say, man, what's the judgment for a bastard son? Put him to death.
That's why I said in that Hebrews 12, but he for our profit.
Yeah.
Because the chastening is for our profit.
yeah, you can see it as like some children at a park and your child at the park. If all these children acting an ass, you're not gonna go out there and whip all those children. You're not gonna go out there and punish all your children. That's not your children. All right, but your child gonna get it because your child's supposed to know better. All right, and that is nothing but correction. That's needed. To help them build and grow, which the Lord is trying to do for us. He sit us down and correct us. To make sure that when it's time for us to be heirs to the throne, we have Hashem Yahshua, that we are capable to do this. Obviously, He's gonna put the laws and statute, commandments in our own reports. Give us all of the benefits that we need and everything we need to rule completely. But again, this is just the test and the trials of Him, breaking us down to build us up at the end of the day.
Appreciate it.
Come, you got it.
This Ecclesiasticus 2 verse 4 chapter. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. Verse 5, for gold is tried in fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. And so that fire gonna bring out the impurities. You dealing with gold, and he gonna have us pure from whatever we was dealing with in the world.
Yeah, and that's the importance of the fire.
Right.
Hey man, what Jay said? What the fuck going on, man? You know, but that's the importance of the fire, man. All right, a good smith, all right, a good person who makes gold, all right, these different fine precious metals, they try to bring their material to the purest it can be. All right, so how much more the Most High and His sons, man? All right, we tell you that in Psalms 82 that ye are gods, all right, but to be brought back to that godlike estate, we have to be purified, man. You know, purged out, man, of them impurities, man. You know, you got it.
Can't inherit the flesh.
Oh, 15.
Yeah, 15.
Somebody get that from me, Prophet Shaw. You got it, but no.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verse 11. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. Verse 12. For whom the Lord loveth, he corrected, even as a father, the son in whom he delighted.
You could, wait, so like, what you
Proverbs chapter 3, verse 11.
Oh, so like, I thought you was reading Hebrews again. So like, read it again, Prophet Shaw?
It's Proverbs chapter 3, verse 11. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. Verse 12. For whom the Lord loveth, he corrected, even as a father the son in whom he delighted.
You know, at this point in time, you know, everything that we go through with the Lord, you know, whether it's good or bad, you know, we all give thanks to Yahweh Bashim Shah at the end of the day. All right? As long as we still here, we're still working and have the opportunity to work and do so, you know, nothing is a loss in this world. All right? Nothing but lessons for us to continue to grow and build on. But you know, if things of chastisement was to happen, the Lord trying to sit us down and correct us, yeah, it might hurt at the moment, just like how a whooping did. A whooping might hurt it there in that moment, but when you sit back and you think about, okay, what was the reason, what needs to come after this, you know, that's what you should be looking at, and that's what we look at the chastisement. You know, once you get the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, you know, because the people that are without, they receive the chastisement, and they one of those children that run away. They one of those children that run away and don't want to have no dealings with it. All right, and just go in complete more bullshit and folly. But we receive that chastisement. We stay there and say, "Thank you, Lord." You know, I couldn't understand it at this point in time, but now I'm about to do better. You know, that brother want to make a point.
I was just gonna say, like, when you were younger, like when you get your ass whooped by your parents, you would reflect on it and you'd be crying at first, but then at the end of the day, you learn a very valuable lesson, and you don't go back to doing the wrong thing.
I was about to say, because the chastising promotes growth. Because what you do is you grow from it, you learn, and then you grow. So the more you get chastised, that's like another lesson learned, a more experience in a certain area added to your walk, so to speak. But it's about the growing. How we were just talking about this earlier in the lesson. But promotes growth. You got it.
I just got a quick precept that's backing y'all brothers up. It's Proverbs 22:6. It says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. You know what I'm saying? So part of your the ways our parents raised us was, you know, getting whippings, so to speak. And like the brothers are saying, whippings just bring forth life lessons. That's what it does. You know what I'm saying? It gets you thinking about all the things you did wrong, so you don't repeat the process.
Right. You know, it's not too many whoopings that brothers could reflect on. You know, maybe some if you went down that road with the family.
I got one.
Yeah.
if I could just speak on
Go ahead.
Hey, bro, when I was younger, I was playing with fire, and I burned the house down. Like down there, all the way down. I burnt a whole room or whatever in the house, everything in it. And I got my ass whooped, and I ain't never played with fire no more. So I learned, but I don't want one of them no more. I stopped playing with fire after that.
I got a quick question.
Yeah, that's ironic that you was playing with fire though.
Yeah,
talk about the melting the impurity. You know what I'm saying?
This Job 5:17.
Yes, bro.
Behold, happy is the man whom God corrected. Therefore, despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty. You know, so we be happy, we be appreciative for them chastenings, you know, them ass whoopings, so to speak. Like they make you better. They make you consider your actions. Like they got people that move in the world that don't consider what they do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They also show you that, hey, man, the Lord loves you, man. He dealing with you. You know, because if the Lord's not dealing with you, man, he just going to let you do what you want to do, man.
Right.
There's way you going to destroy yourself.
Right.
You know, it's like back you up. Jake had that fuck it mindset. You know that it is what it is. I'm gonna keep going. You know, I'm gonna keep on doing the same shit until Jake be really looking for death at the end of the day.
Right.
If I don't die behind this, that means I'm gonna keep on going. But nah, for a brother in the truth, if the Lord just slap our hand one time, we like, oh no, I don't want none of that. You know what I'm saying?
A step further, if I see him slap your hand,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it.
Right.
So, learn about observation, that come into play too.
Because you gotta understand the power that you're dealing with, man. We dealing with a power that could take your life at any given moment. You know?
The king of terror.
The king of terror.
We just went into that.
Con.
But hey, our people don't like one of y'all. I think it was you said it. One of y'all brothers said it. Our people don't know though. We know, hey, therefore through the terror of the Lord, like me and the brother went into the lesson, we persuade men.
That's it.
But our people don't know the terror of the Lord, man. So when they get corrected, it be debt, man.
Yeah.
All right, and the Lord is getting ready to bring mass debt to the bulk of our people here in America, man. All right, go ahead.
That's why the Lord said, he said, I kill, I wound, I make a line. I do all these things. So if the Lord, he wound you in some kind of way, you going the wrong way, the Lord go out there and say, I'm gonna break his goddamn leg. You know better than that shit. He break your goddamn leg. Then you, oh Lord, the priest, Lord help me. You got there with crushing. But you got your mind back right. The Lord goddamn, he could, like this man, he set the house on fire. He could have goddamn gave him some 33 burn. He wanted to let him to hit them scars. Remember now, you played with that fire, look at all these, So that's what the Lord will do. So he ain't nobody to be played with, I got one little story when I was working in the in these factories and stuff like that, and I knew I had to cut my beard off. I was just starting out growing. I was kind of early. I cut it off, and the Lord, it's just a voice came and said, you fucking up. And I just kind of ignored it. So on my way home, I had a night tie and everything on the truck, and it just blew out. That happened. I was in the sub fixing them up. The next thing I know, I tried to get this job. I lost both the damn jobs. Lord said, you ain't getting neither one of the jobs. I lost both of them. Yeah. Yeah, Lord told me, all kind of hell just went to happen just like that. And I knew right then. I said, I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If the Lord to get you, man.
And that's the thing, me and Kaya, we talk about this a lot. And Jake know when they fucking up. Yeah. You can't hide the fact that you fucking up, to yourself. You probably can hide it to other people, but you know when you fucking up. So when moments like that happen, the first thing that comes to your mind is like, damn, I knew I wasn't supposed to do that.
But most of the men of the Lord, the men in the world, they brute beasts.
Yeah.
They don't consider their actions.
Yeah, because your conscience, you got the spirit on you, the spirit of the Lord on you. Yeah. So when your conscience condemning you, then you know you're guilty.
Right.
When you're doing something you're not supposed to do, it's gonna be constantly on your brain, like, man, I'm fucking tripping. Right. I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Because the spirit of the Lord on you. But our people, they don't have that. They don't know if, I'm fucking up or I'm tripping. They don't have that, man. Right. Go ahead.
Come on, real quick. They got the saying in the world that I'm with you if you right or you wrong, and no, that's out the window, man. If you right, I'm with you. If you wrong, I'm not messing with that. But that's something that niggas in the world, I'm rocking with you if you wrong. I don't care what the consequences is. But again, with the spirit on a man of the Lord, we know like man, that's nonsense. Yeah. We trying to do everything correct the best way that we could, but you got it, bro.
Sirach 18:27, a wise man will fear in everything.
Yes.
And in the day of sinning, he will be aware of offense. But a fool will not observe time.
Simple and plain.
Plain and simply aware. A fool won't observe the times, man. It ain't really, it broke down itself. But, yeah, no? Go ahead.
It's Jeremiah 6 and 16. Thus said the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your soul. But they said we will not walk therein. So we looking for that old path. The people in the world, they ain't about to answer that because they ain't trying to do right, and they ain't trying to come out the world. They looking for that. We looking for rest for our souls.
We found the old path.
Right, yeah.
Through way of Yahweh by Shem Shai.
That's it.
Go back to what that is. I think you brothers quoted it earlier, Romans the 11th chapter, right?
Yeah.
And what it says?
Election have obtained.
Yeah, election have obtained it. We got it right now, man.
Yeah.
We got this truth. That's that old path,
Right
man.
time, but them people in the world,
Right.
We still seeking.
yeah.
Would it tell you that broad is the way of destruction?
Yeah.
That's it.
You know, so that old path that we found is that narrow path that's going against that crowd. That's separating away from that crowd.
A straight gate.
The straight gate, come. You know, but you want me? Come, brothers got anything else? Come.
You got
You
some?
got something?
You got some?
Good. Good. So, just wrapping up this camp. We pray that this live camp was edifying. Trying to get out of here. We want to give infinite honors and prayers too.
Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Rakakadash.
Double honors to the apostles and honors to GMS who taught us the truth. Peace and salutations to the hopefully elect. You Akim, you Aquat, which is brothers and sisters in the Hebrew that believe. In a Baba Ball.
Baba Ball.
Baba Ball.
Baba Ball.
Baba Ball.
Baba Ball.
Kwame Yasharala.
Kwame Yasharala.
Shalom.
Shalom.